Hello everyone and welcome to the Artful Dreamer Studio. My name is Carrie and this week is all about spring. Spring is upon us and I am not much of a botanical painter, but I do paint flowers, usually in my landscapes, or if I wanted to do a spontaneous flower painting, I do. But this week I thought I would paint for you my favorite flower, which is the calla lily. I don't remember when calla lilies became my favorite flower, but I do remember the first calla lilies I ever received. It was a few years back. My brothers went out and got me this beautiful pot of white calla lilies. And anybody that's ever had calla lilies knows that once they bloom and they die, they do not come back. So I thought I would paint a calla lily that would last me forever. So I went on Pixabay and I found this reference photo of a beautiful multicolored calla lily, and I thought I'd demo that for you today. So come along with me, let's paint. So here we go. I am just putting down some water. I decided wet on wet would be appropriate for this first layer. And I'm just going to apply some pigment just to kind of outline where the different colors will be going. Fun fact, I actually painted this a couple times for you guys because the original painting, I either ran out of recording or my battery died, something. So yeah. So more wet on wet, I'm just deepening the pigment color just because I knew it was probably going to be darkest in these areas. So you might notice that I lift the paper, the board, quite often when I am putting down water. It's because I really need to see the sheen to determine where the water is gone. And now I am adding the pigment here. I'm just kind of making irregular marks in a line on the flower, and the reason is because I think it'll give me the texture that I'm looking for, the texture that I see when I look at the reference, and pretty much when I look at this type of calla lily in real life. So far I'm really liking the texture, and I'm trying to blend all the colors that I see in the reference. That texture is not as apparent in the reference photo, so I'm taking some of it from my memory of when I look at calla lilies. Just remember, this is your art. It should make you happy and it should really appeal to your senses. So I tried to make this appeal to my senses and pretty much make it my own. I took a lot from the reference, but some of it from just the aesthetic of what I like. Yeah, I'm using my size 0 Da Vinci to make these thin lines. It kind of is a sort of negative painting. When I make these thin lines with the Quinn Rose, it kind of creates the white lines that I see in the reference photo. Now I want to get to work on the lower part of the calla lily, where the orange and yellow and green all mix together like they would in real life. As you notice in this painting, there are a lot of layers. I am letting each layer dry before I start the next layer, and I'm using a very soft brush to re-wet the paper so I don't disturb any of the paint underneath. So I will say this about painting the stem. Sometimes we can get really caught up in making sure that we're staying in the lines and everything is perfect. I often start a painting by practicing and doing some line work just so I can get my hand a little less shaky when I'm actually painting. But then I kind of do not worry about the lines. I do the best that I can, knowing that I can clean up messy lines at the end if I absolutely need to. So I'm not stressing myself too much about perfection during the painting process. I really want to enjoy it and have fun. Even when we do make mistakes, just realize you can fix them. Like just then, I stopped that bloom from ruining the painting. There are a lot of ways to fix mistakes in watercolor. I know people tell you that watercolor is so difficult because it's unforgiving, but it can be quite forgiving if you kind of know what you're doing in the proper techniques. I put on quite a pigmented layer of the quinacridone rose, and then I just started to smooth it out and spread the pigment around on that small section.
So in this section I saw a lot of purple, so what I did was just mixed a little ultramarine blue with my Quin Rose to get that purple color, and then I just applied it pretty wet on wet. So I wanted it to be pretty smooth. I saw a smoothness. This is a flower, so I just wanted to make sure that I could get it as smooth as possible, and I did wet on wet. So here's the cool part. For the most part, most of everything is where it needs to be. What I'm doing right now is just dry brushing to get more pigment to close those white lines and make them a tad smaller, and then just to add a little bit of a deeper color to some of the areas of the calla lily. I think it turns out very similar to the original painting that I made, but also a representation of what I was feeling this particular day that I painted this particular calla lily. Now I'll just touch up the leaf on the edge and make sure it's really defined. And there you have it. It's a calla lily.
Wow, I hope you guys enjoyed watching that as much as I enjoyed painting it. I stuck pretty close to the reference photo and colors that I saw, but the best thing about botanical painting is when you choose your own colors and your own techniques. These are just the ones that worked for me. I really enjoy making these videos, so please like, share, and subscribe so that I can continue making demo paintings for you. I'm hoping that we can expand and grow and I can make even more content for you guys. Please share anything that you'd like to see me painting and I'll be happy to try it out for you. See you next time.